Hi, everyone, and welcome to this Common Sense Education training for your school's recognition. And what that means is for your school to receive the recognition, it lasts for 2 years, and then you have to reapply. All of your staff who are part of teaching digital citizenship, which in Bradley County, we feel like all staff are a part of that. You might not be specifically doing lessons with students, but you are still in your daily curriculum, working with kids, just the conversations you have, hopefully continuing to talk to them about how to be good digital citizens. So you may have done this training before. It is different in the sense that the presentation itself is different because I did not want you guys to have to sit through the same thing twice. With that said, we're just going to go. So in the presentation today, we're going to cover the following things. What common sense education is, if you're not familiar with that, what digital citizenship is, which I know you all are familiar with, the 6 core topics that common sense categorizes everything into, and how we can prepare our students for a digital life online. This is just some information about common sense media and education. It is two different things. They are on the same platform. There's a part for educators, and there is a part that has information and things for parents and students. Common Sense has been around for a very long time. And what they have done is they have created the curriculum that we use with our students. It's free. It is already there, packaged, ready to go. There's slides, presentations, there's the lesson plans themselves, there's answers to questions for students, there's quizzes. We really couldn't ask for anything more. And even if we were looking for one that was paid, I think this would have been our choice. Fortunately, it's free, and we don't find that very often. Here are the categories or topics that they break everything into. We are going to touch on each one of these as I go through the presentation. And the first thing I wanted to do was just show you some statistics. So every year, Common Sense does some type of a census where they poll students and parents and different people, and then they combine and get the data together and share it out. They share it out in reports. They share it out in infographics. So I snipped a few infographics to show here just so you could kind of see where students are now opposed to in 2019, which was the last time that the students were polled for this particular census. You can pause this video at any time and rewind. So if the slides go too fast for you showing you the data, feel free to pause it, to rewind it, whatever you need to do. And you're just going to see here in the first slide that it's showing you from 2015 when they did it to 19 to 21 this past year, how it has increased. And then when I say increased, I'm talking about how much time students spend on screen time doing something. This just shows their favorites in order. These are their favorite social media. It is broke down between tweens and teens. So you can kind of get an idea of wherever you're an educator at. And then this shows if they had to live without one thing, what they couldn't live without, and it was YouTube. And I gotta tell you, that's in my top 2 probably right now. And then sadly, reading has not changed at all in 2 years. And when we say reading, they are talking about students reading for pleasure. And I think that is one of the saddest things. And I know how important reading is to Bradley County. And of course, these weren't necessarily Bradley County students polled, but in general, because I think everything is available to them in videos, in movies, or you can read synopsises online. Even students aren't really picking up the books or their Kindles and just reading something because they want to read it. And I think that's something that kind of goes with the first topic that we're going to go into next, which is media balance and well-being. So our students, we need to help them find that balance. There is a balance. There really is. You can spend so much time on your screens, whether it's a TV or you're, playing video games or you're on social media or you're just searching the internet and doing things where you actually have to communicate with other people face to face. It's a skill we need. And I think our students, we need to show them that there are other things out there that are great. There's some of them you might think are old fashioned. I don't want to go ride a bike. I don't want to play outside. I could do all these really cool things inside, but we need to help them with those activities and show them that it's okay to put your phones down and have a device free dinner. It's okay to have an evening where your family's just gonna, even if your family together is watching a movie and everybody is not like this. Because sometimes I don't even know if we know what people's faces actually look like because we're always on our device. You go in a restaurant and you see the entire family or the couple and they're just sitting there on their devices, no communication going on. And it's, adults were no different than our students. And we really need to find that balance with how much time we are spending doing that because it isn't necessarily great for their mental health to just always be on there doing that. Now, throughout the video, I am going to play some short videos. These are videos from Common Sense Education. They are I believe, from 2020. And it's where they have had parents or students share out their thoughts on these topics.
So throughout the day, I use my phone a lot.
I wake up.
I probably check it before I take a shower.
Try and separate from it, but it's hard.
So I have two cell phones, a personal cell phone and a work cell phone.
In the situation where I lose my phone, I actually could be quite stressed out and panicked.
Whenever I don't know what to do, my first instinct is to pull out my phone.
No, I wouldn't say I'm addicted to my phone. I think I just use it a little too much. It would be kind of challenging to go for a long amount of time without my phone.
I'd say it's not too much time. I'd say it's just balanced.
I do sometimes wake up because of notifications.
I try not to sleep with my phone on the pillow next to me. I use my phone as an alarm.
3 or 4 times a week, it will be an inconvenience that I'm woken up and I can't go back to sleep. It happened this morning.
Phone usage and screen time usage is a big problem and it does cause a lot of fights.
Phone use doesn't really cause arguments.
They're never big arguments, they're mainly just little scuffles.
My wife will catch me and, give me that really look on her face.
I'd say more of the battles are with him getting off the phone.
I'd like to be better at that.
It's been a concern because the phone use or device use by my son is what everybody else is doing now. It's kind of the norm for them. We have to set boundaries. If he could, he would play it all day long, and it's not healthy.
Okay, so a couple of things in this that really kind of make me giggle because even if it's true, I just think it's kind of funny. One being the dad who says that he gets that look from his wife when he shouldn't be on his device. And I think most of us know what that look is. If you have a significant other or a mother, even, you get that look because you're not supposed to be on it. It's funny to me that it was maybe 47% of students do not think they spend too much time on their phones. Of course, they don't think they spend too much time on their phones, but it was a much larger percentage of parents who think they do spend too much time. And then talking about sleeping with your phone. The number for students who did was relatively low. And I do think that was because they don't need an alarm clock next to them because parents wake them up. But, mine is my alarm clock. So it is beside my bed. Now I do keep it on vibrate. So I really don't hear anything if somebody posts something or shares something or is trying to get a hold of me. But if it was on, I'm sure it would be an interruption like some people here had said. So, families and parents are trying to find that common ground as well and figure out how do you make that balance? And how do I show my students that we shouldn't be on our devices all the time when I'm on my device all the time? So it is hard. There's so many things that we feel the need to have access to during the day, but it is important that our students realize that there's other things out there. You know, we've all experienced all of these other things because we didn't have as much technology. And when I say we all, I really mean teachers who are older. I am pretty old, so I know that we have a lot of staff who you've had a lot of technology at your reach too, and actually that makes you probably even better at talking to the students because you've had to deal with it in your lifetime. So next is privacy and security. Privacy and security is probably one of the things people think of first when they think about internet safety and digital citizenship. And it's probably the one that maybe scares people the most.
Regarding online safety, we all are very concerned.
I was surprised how many students said, yeah, I feel comfortable telling somebody my address online.
A student left her location services on her Instagram account, and therefore an older teen from another city was able to find her and come to our campus. And that was a really scary situation for that student and that family.
The address conversation wasn't the only thing that they were not aware of that you shouldn't share online, such as your date of birth, your parents' name. They were clueless to all of that.
So, you know, when they tell that what happened, I think as an educator, that's one of my greatest fears is that I'm going to come in one day and I'm going to find out that one of our students in Bradley County had done something like this. But the truth is, it's already happened. We have had students who have had somebody they met online that they never met before come to pick them up from school. We definitely have students that give out their private information because they feel like it is a safe environment, whatever it is they're on. And there are so many ways that people who don't mean that mean harm to our students, basically, whether predators or other really even worse than predators who want to harm people. And there's a lot of things that we do, whether it's we have on some type of shirt that actually gives away where we go to school, which helps someone to find our location, or we think, oh, so-and-so, they just asked where my parents work. That's okay. It's important that we teach students from K through 12 how to keep their information private to protect themselves. And I do want to say for those of you who maybe are in elementary and aren't sure what goes on in secondary with digital citizenship or vice versa, that Common Sense has curriculum that's K through 12. So our students who are in kindergarten clearly do not have this maybe as impactful of lessons as a 12th grader might have, but they do have the lessons. So they're hearing the terms and they're learning what a kindergartner needs to know to be safe. And as they learn that, it just scaffolds from K through 12. And our hope is, especially once we get to the point where we have cycled through all the way, that our kindergartners will have had these lessons. And by the time they're in 12th grade, a lot of this will just be second nature, that they would already know it. Now, we are not to that point yet. We do probably have some middle school students who have had some of the lessons, but our high school students, for the most part, have just had the lessons for them. You know, our middle school students have had the lessons that are going on for middle school, but they haven't had that advantage of having had this and heard this since they were in kindergarten. So it's even more important, I think, that we work with students right now in helping them navigate what can be a scary place, and we don't want it to be a scary place for them. So this video kind of goes along with that. I am just going to make a couple comments before I play it. For some of you, you will think, wow, that's going too far. For some of you, you will think, yeah, heck yeah, they need that. So I'm going to play it and then I'll make a couple of comments. The worst part about doing the training this way is I don't get to have feedback with you guys and talk to you. So I'll do the best I can. But here is the video.
It's a shocking video burning up the internet as parents learn their kids have agreed to meet a stranger they met online.
Michaela, are you crazy?
The video was created by Kobe Person, a 21-year-old from New Jersey who has a massive following on YouTube.
I made a fake profile on Facebook posing as a 15-year-old boy. With the parents' permission, I friend requested 3 girls ages 14, 13, and 12 years old. Most of them said like a generic thing like, oh, how do I know you? Or who are you? I don't know you. Why are you talking to me? And I'd be like, oh no, I just moved to the town. I moved to your town and I'm just trying to make friends.
The video shows 3 scenarios. In one, a 13-year-old girl agrees to meet Kobe in a park.
So I just got a text. My parents just left. I can be at the park in 10 minutes. Michaela? From Facebook.
Her dad was waiting with Kobe.
Michaela, are you crazy? Are you out of your mind?
Sorry. This dad was sure his 12-year-old daughter knew about stranger danger.
So she wants to chill tonight, supposedly. What do you think about that?
I don't think she's gonna open the door. Gotta hope she doesn't open that door.
But to her dad's horror, she did.
Juliana, get over here. Get over here. What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you?
I'm sorry.
How can you do this? You're 12 years old. This guy's 20 years old.
And in the last case, parents wait in a van. Mom thinks she taught her 14-year-old daughter to know better.
Do you think she's gonna go through with this?
No way.
Absolutely not. I don't even believe it's her. Probably gonna have friends playing around with her.
But here she comes. Mom and dad put on hoods to really hammer home their message.
Jenna, stop. It's your mother or father. Jenna.
What are you thinking?
They did a good job, but I wanted it to be a little more scarier.
Was Kobe afraid the young girls might be traumatized?
Whatever trauma they had, it would be 100. These are the same girls that would have been in the real life situation, and it would have been 100 times worse.
So it is kind of like, wow. Like the one common thread through this was that all of the parents said, my child would not do that. My child knows better than to do that. I've taught my child. My child is way too smart to ever fall for this. And then they all 3 did. And I think this had an impact on the parents as well as the children. And the children clearly, I don't want to see them scarred for life by any means. But I do agree a little bit with the gentleman who did this, that I would much rather them to be scared now than to be in that situation later. And do we have to go this far to teach our kids this? No, we don't. But it does happen. And it happens in Bradley County. I have dealt with elementary school through secondary where this has happened. I sat down with an elementary student who had a boyfriend from North Carolina online, and sat down with her and her grandmother and the administrator, and we talked about this, and we tried to convince this small young girl that there is a possibility that this person isn't who they say they are, and we truly could not convince her. And I'm sure now we put a stop to it clearly, but I'm sure you all can think of one student of at least who could easily fall for something like this. That's why we need to make sure we're sharing and talking to students. The best thing we can do as educators is to have conversations, always planting the seed. You might think, well, I teach science. How am I supposed to incorporate this in? Well, there are ways. that we can help you incorporate this into your curriculum. And there is always just, I'm sure you talk to your students all the time about different things that are happening or that you've heard of or what's the latest. And if you hear of something, what a great opportunity to say, hey, I heard a story about something really sad that happened, and you know how real that is, and just to share how things can happen. So we are gonna keep on moving here to digital footprint and identity. Now, I spent a lot of time on this in the last training we did. I will not spend as much time on this particular topic today.
My name is Tracy Christmas. I am the assistant principal here at Los Cerros Middle School. One of the problems with our students not really understanding what social media, how it can impact them and their lives, is once you post something online, it's permanent somewhere. Once you send it out there in the universe, it's always out in the universe. And our students don't really understand the repercussions and the consequences of their actions when posting these pictures of themselves. And they don't realize the long-term effect that this can have on them and their lives at 13 years old, how it can still follow them at 30 and 40 and 50. And it doesn't just impact them, it impacts their families, it impacts their peers, it impacts their school and their community.
You know, that he had some great statements on the screen in there. And when they say they do not realize how permanent it is, and they do not realize the long-term effects of the things that they're doing now. When we talk to our younger students about their digital footprint, we are helping them mold it because they're still so young. And when we're talking to our secondary and our high school students about this, they potentially have already damaged their online identity. So we not only want to help them to not damage it anymore, but also to try to clean it up the best that they can. I think students, even though they'll say, I know everything is there forever, but they don't really grasp what that means. And they don't see the long-term effect of when I graduate from high school, I'm either going to get a job or I'm going to go to college. There's different opportunities that they have. And with either of those, or I'm just going to get married. Parents today know how to search and look up about someone. And you know, if my son has a boyfriend or a girlfriend, I very well might check their social media to see. That could end a relationship. I mean, if they're young enough, the parent might say, nope, because I saw this and that tells me everything I need to know about this person. And even though we know that is not necessarily everything about them, that's all they have to go by, and that's what they're going to go by. Because we have when you meet someone face to face, first impressions, and you want to make a good impression that first time. But our online identities, all they have to go by is what we've put out there and the things that we don't have control over, anything that's public record. And then the rest is all based on what we put. So we want to make sure our students know that it could keep you from getting a job. It could keep you from getting into college or getting that scholarship. We want them to know the damage it could cause and help them build these really positive, great digital citizenship type online identities. Now, this little short video is similar. So I think this video does a good job of explaining how not only are things permanent, but things we put out there can be copied, can be shared. We think we have control over the things that we're putting, but we really don't, because with the technology we have today, you could put something and you could just share it with one person. And if that person reshares it or reposts it or takes a snapshot of it, then it lives on. And that's something that we want to make sure that students understand as well. So now we're going to talk just a little bit about relationships and communication. And I'm sure you can already see how these things all kind of tie together, because, relationships could tie into your privacy. And so definitely your online identity. I think that is why it has been broken apart, because it does make a whole as a good digital citizen, but there's all these different components, and those components have certain things that are going to be important for us to help our students navigate through.
I'm not totally sure why a lot of times girls would want to send pictures like that or send that kind of text.
Why do I think people send nudes?
To showboat. Sometimes people do it because they want to. Sometimes people don't want to do it and they feel like they've been pressured into it.
If their friends are doing it and their friends are like telling them they should do it, they can just send the picture.
Most guys don't think about the consequences that girls have.
Sometimes you send that picture because you want someone to tell you that you're beautiful. And that's another form of obligation.
Okay, I'm going to pause it there. Somebody might be like, "Just let's get into the good stuff," and she stopped it. But what I wanted to talk about here was consequences for one thing that they had there on the screen. I had spoken with some students who had done some things they shouldn't, that involved pictures and sharing, and they said they knew it was wrong. And they said they knew they probably could get in trouble at school or with their mom and dads, but they had no idea that it was illegal. And they had no idea that it was considered pornography. And, and underage children being involved in this, even though they don't feel they're underage. And they said, well, if I had known that, somebody should have told us that. Why didn't you guys teach us that? Because I wouldn't have done it if I thought I could be in trouble with the police. There's so many things that we, even as educators, don't think about that we need to talk and share about with students. But the truth is, even in this situation, the parents did not realize that either, that was considered child pornography. I think we assume parents are going to be teaching these things to the students. And a lot of times the parents don't know what they don't know either. And so part of Common Sense Media's goal is that we not only are working with students, but it's a whole component. Even to become a school or to become a district, we have to have parent outreach. We need to help the parents because they don't know what they don't know. And honestly, it's hard for them to keep up with everything that's going on. It's hard for me to keep up with it, and it's part of my job. It's ever changing, but students a lot of times don't realize that they might share something with a good friend, a best friend, and that best friend's never going to share it or do anything about it because they're my best friend, that best friend might not be their best friend forever. And if they are ever to have an argument about something, whatever they have shared or given them could be exposed. And the same goes for boyfriends and girlfriends. And it can be life-changing for the students involved. It can ruin reputations, not just the students' reputations, but their family's reputation. They don't think about when their parents go into church on Sunday, how they feel knowing that everybody in the congregation knows or has seen a picture. It's it's kind of beyond their reach to think about how far it could go. And so we want them to be trusting. We want them to have great positive relationships. We want them to understand that it's not okay to send things like that. It's not okay to share things like that. It's you could get yourself in a lot of trouble, and you can really ruin people's lives. And no matter how you feel today about someone, there is always the possibility. There's always the possibility that something could happen, and whatever you've shared's gotten out. That's the message we need to get to our kids. Okay. We'll deal with on a daily basis with the bullying and drama and hate speech just in person and with students. So the cyberbullying, digital drama, and hate speech that's available online when you're doing something, whether it's playing video games and all this that's going on in the chat, or you're on social media, or you're watching YouTube videos, and in the YouTube videos, people are making comments, and we see all of these things. And unfortunately, not everyone agrees on certain topics, and not everyone knows how to, maybe the best way to share how they feel. And sometimes things come across one way because we all perceive things differently. And sometimes they come across just like the person meant them to, but it often deals then with a lot of students with hurt feelings and not understanding. And even as adults, I know, like, we can be on FaceTime and I'll think, everybody's life is so perfect, or everybody's going on vacation this summer and I'm not, or everybody just got a new car. And it makes you feel like there's something wrong. Like, why am I not going on vacation? Or why can't we get another car? And we kind of know how to deal with that. And we know in reality, not everybody's life is perfect, but our students do not know how to deal with that. They have not gained all of those skills yet with how that makes them feel. And then how are they going to react to that? So we need to teach our students to be upstanders. And when they see something going on online, to tell a parent, to tell a teacher, to tell a trusted adult so that they can help. We want to make sure our students know that saying mean things online is not okay, because when this is in front of your face, it's easy to say things and not feel the consequences. You feel a little bit removed, or you feel safe behind my screen, and we say things maybe that we wouldn't say if we were face to face with someone. And so it's a lot for our students to deal with, all of these feelings and emotions, and we really need to help them navigate through this. And I will show this little video of
when
some
I go
students'
online,
thoughts
I
on it.
see hate speech everywhere.
Usually it's about race or religion.
And I've seen this all in social media, Facebook, YouTube.
I've definitely seen hate speech in comment sections, basically every single platform.
There's always that one racist or sexist comment that's always going to be there.
I don't think you have to go very far to find it.
I don't have a need to go digging for it.
It's everywhere.
I define.
Okay, I'm going to pause it right there. These videos are all really great if you want access to them, so you can look them up and look at them yourselves. But like I said, it's there. Our kids know what it is. They know what hate speech is. They know how people are behaving. Some of them think it's funny. It goes back to your digital footprint and online identity. If you are laughing at something that really is off color or not right, that comment is there forever. So we want to help our students navigate this digital world, understand that, hey, if somebody's bullying you online and it is connected to school, for sure you need to come tell us. If leave the chat room. If you're playing a video game and somebody's telling you how awful you are at it, you can leave and you can block people. And you have options out there to remove yourself from this. And when you can't remove yourself from this, then we want them to have the tools with, well, how do I react? How do I deal with it? So that is what that topic covers with students. And then the last one is news and media literacy. And the truth is, this is like the one that most people don't even realize is a part of it. And yet it is very important. So I'll show this short video and then I'll make a few comments.
If I would describe the news in one word, it would be fascinating.
Important. More now than ever.
If I had one word to describe the news, I would say helpful.
Because it directly affects me, and I like to know what's happening.
It gives me a choice to know what I want to do and who I want to be when I grow up.
So the thing, I'll talk about news first. So a couple of years ago, I think maybe in 2020, Common Sense had done kind of like they did the census this year. That one was on students and their thoughts on news and media literacy. And in that, students make the comment, I don't remember the percentage, they all know that everything they read online isn't true. But yet later in it, it's like, yet they do. And honestly, adults do as well. Sometimes we struggle with that just as much as students do. So we need to give our students the skills to be able to see something that's posted on social media or something they see online of how do you know if that's true or not? Because in that census, I remember that students, it was a very high percentage, that where they get their information from is from influencers. So an influencer, it could be somebody that has a YouTube channel. It could be a famous gamer. It could be a famous person that we see out in movies or that's in maybe politics. And they get that from people who are influencers and that they believe what the influencers say. Now, we know that just because somebody says something doesn't make it true. And that's what we need to teach our students how to do. If you hear somebody say, or you see a post that says something, before you share it again, before you tell everybody, before you repost it, make sure it's true. Let's teach them how can I verify that? How can I find out if that really is accurate? And the media literacy part of it is teaching excuse me, allergy year, time of year. The media literacy is teaching our students how to properly cite things if they're going to take them from the internet, number one, that it's not okay to copy and paste and not give credit. So all those papers and things you do. Now today, it is so much easier for teachers to find and discover these things. There's apps, there's programs. You can just copy it's in their paper and Google it, paste it in Google, and it'll come up with the site. I was an English teacher for many years, and I know all of you, whether you were or not, I definitely had papers, and I did not have necessarily all the tools. Now, I still was able to use some, but tools weren't as advanced, I guess, as they are today. And, just as the same with that, if for us to be able to find them, kids have a lot more resources to them on how to get information and put it into papers or repost it or share it. And they don't always understand that those things belong to someone else. They want to make a video and they want to put background music in it. So they're going to take their favorite song and put it in there. Well, you can't do that because that's copyright infringement. But there are a lot of sites that have free audio that you can use, that have free photos that you can use. So we need to help our students gain these tools so that they are not, finding things like in Creative Commons and not using things that are copyrighted. And if they do need to use something, they need to give proper credit for it. Because the bottom line is it's stealing. And those lessons in common sense do begin very young with the students, even in kindergarten. And, while we teach them what's not right to do, we also need to be giving them the resources of, but you could do this. You could find something here. So we want to teach them how to be able to make sure that there's not fake news, and how to be able to find things they can use that they are not breaking any copyrights. So we're almost to the end. I have about 6 minutes left, and so I have a couple more things to go over, and then I'm going to give you guys the last 15 minutes to do the questions that are in the Google form. So this training is supposed to be a complete hour, but I'm counting these questions as the conversation we're not being able to have. So it's just input you're giving into the different things that we've talked about today. So when something's really important to us, it becomes part of our everyday lives. And I think all of us could agree with that. When you decide that you're going to eat healthy, and when it becomes important enough to you, you will. Has not become important enough to me yet, though, but I wish it would. When something is very important, we find a way to make it happen. And I hope, as a district, can find that digital citizenship is that important. It is that important for the safety of our students, for them to be able to navigate, which who knows where this online world is going to take us, that they are good people, that they have, when somebody sees their online presence, that it's a positive one. And we can do that through conversations. We can do that through lessons that we do with the students. We can do that through bringing in guest speakers. We have a lot of things at our fingertips to get these thoughts and ideas and be helping our students. Some students will get it at home and some won't. We need to help families gain resources to use and to learn about what some of these things are, because you don't know what you don't know. And my goal and hope is that this is important enough to Bradley County schools that it does become a part of our everyday lives and our conversations with students. And just about the resources that Common Sense offers. So Common Sense Education, what that gives you is it gives you access to the curriculum, the lessons, which I already said, it's all there for you. And each school determines how they're going to share this information out with the students, because we do have a requirement of having to do these lessons with students. But there's also access where teachers can go in and look up different websites that might be helpful in teaching, not just teaching digital citizenship, but literally in your content areas. So they have, new apps that are out for education, new websites that are out for education, new ideas that are out for education. And you can break it down by subject, you can break it down by age, by grade level. And so I really encourage you to go on there and check it out. It is free to create a Common Sense account. So I would create one, I would go in there and I would look through all of these different resources, because even when I go to conferences and things, people do presentations on things that Common Sense has already shared with us, because they're not always just about digital citizenship. They do share other things. And then on Common Sense Media's site, they have a lot of resources for parents as well. They have resources about social media and what the different platforms are, and the good, the bad, and the ugly, I guess. They are really good at not saying use this or don't use this. They are just about, here are the facts. And as a parent, you should do with them what you feel is best. And we have a lot of parents, because they don't know what they don't know. This is a great resource for them to, what is TikTok? I don't understand. I hear my kids talking about it. Or what is Snapchat? Do I want my child to have that or not? And then they have a lot of resources and reviews on movies. And it could be movies that are out at the theaters. It could be movies that are oldies but goodies. And they'll give you basically what the rating of the movie is, and then why. And just an explanation of that. It's not saying you shouldn't let your second grader watch that. It's, here it is, and you determine, because every parent parents differently. They have resources on books and video games. My son was a big video gamer, and I am not a big gamer. So I really had to look there and decide, okay, what is this game about? Because I don't know whether he should be on that or not. So there's a lot of resources for parents and educators through Common Sense. And then my very last thing that I always say, and I have 1 minute to share how I feel about this, is that hope is not a strategy. Like I said last time, we don't say, I hope my child never runs out and plays in traffic. We teach them, don't play in traffic. Look both ways before you cross. And so it is important that we don't just hope our students are good digital citizens. We don't just want to hope that they know not to meet somebody they met online. We don't want to just hope that they know you can't just go take your favorite song and put it on Facebook under some pictures and play it. You're going to get kicked out. So we need to share this with them. We need to teach them these things. It is a digital world. We give them all a Chromebook to use. We're one-to-one. We can't just hope that they're going to know what to do with that. And with the tool of the internet, we need to make sure that we're doing the lessons and taking care of them and trying to keep them as safe as we can and trying to include, well, that's my timer telling me my time's up, but we need to reach out to parents too and share this information. So that is all that I have. Hopefully it was a relatively quick 45 minutes. I know nobody likes to just have to sit and listen to somebody talk. If you want help with anything, please reach out to me or another tech coach. If you want ideas for how to use this to just be able to incorporate great things about digital citizenship in an everyday classroom lesson that's not just a digital citizenship lesson, please reach out. We have a lot of tools. We have a lot of ideas of things that you can do with students. So please reach out to us and just go back under in that Google form, answer those 3 questions, click submit, and you are done. Thanks everybody for listening. Bye.